This is Todd Joseph, live from the Bluebird Cafe with my good friend Taylor Watkins, here to discuss his new record, Ghost Shirt Society.
Yeah, thanks Todd. Thanks for having me back at the Bluebird Cafe. Hope you've been all right.
I've been all right. I've been good. Better to have old friends in town. So Taylor, what is the theme of this record that you want to convey to people?
So this record, in comparison to my last record, I would say I'm a little more vulnerable, a little more on the personal side this time around. There was a lot of grief over the last few years that come through in a lot of these songs. I really just wanted to convey a theme of, self-assurance, self-affirmation, and self-healing within this record. So no matter what people get out of these songs, I hope it, leads to a moment of strength within them and kind of gives them power back to themselves like the songs did for me.
So then what are some of the standout tracks?
So I love Clear as Mud. That's the single that we put out before the album release, a couple months beforehand. That was a newer one that wasn't really supposed to be on the record, but just kind of asked some universal questions in that song that, when I'm speaking to myself or, speaking to friends or having, long-winded spiritual conversations, I think some of those questions that come up in that song are just things I found myself saying over the last few years. So it felt good to finally get it out into the music world.
What are some of the takeaways you want listeners to get from this record?
I want people to see, a new side to me. I think, at this point, I've spent over 10 years really putting myself out there in the music world. I've been playing live. I lived on the road for 4 years, and now I'm finally able to, get to a point where I feel like I'm as honest as I can be to the audience. These songs, some of them have been sticking with me for, like I said, 5 or 6 years. Finally just happy to get them out, and I'm hoping that people are able to see me from a new light with this record. I'm really trying to be as vulnerable as possible. I'm going to try to continue that with my songwriting moving forward. But whereas sometimes in the past my songs were maybe philosophical or existential, but didn't really get a lot of my personal side into those questions. So with these songs now, I'm just kind of sharing what I've been going through over the last few years. And I hope that with me being vulnerable to the audience, it kind of allows them to be vulnerable with these songs. And, I really hope they can connect to them in that way.
Excellent. What was the recording process this time around?
A little bit different. So things have changed a lot since the last record. Unbiased Eyes came out in 2021. Now I live in Asheville, North Carolina, or east of Asheville in a small town, Black Mountain, and have made a new crew of band members, met a new crew of, some recording engineers, some mixing engineers. So got to work up in Marshall, North Carolina, with a really cool dude, Luke Mitchell, at Out There Studios. Some really great people have been through that studio. Luke's worked with some great musicians in town, and he's also in a really cool band called the High Divers. But through mutual friends, got connected with him. We recorded a bunch of the tracks on the album. We recorded some full songs like Clear as Mud and Blue Jeans, and tracked a lot of other stuff that was needed on the album there. And then from Luke, got introduced to Julian Dreyer at Echo Mountain. And Julian was just a godsend. They were in the reconstruction phase of Echo Mountain. So I actually went over to Julian's house off and on, and we just sat and really grinded out this record. He kind of affirmed a lot for me in the mixing realm, and kind of on the production side of things for me, kind of made me feel like what I was doing in the production realm, was right, and really kind of gave me a new confidence. So I'm already working on the 4th record, as we do. So kind of have put a new backing to me, kind of pushed me forward in that realm. So worked with him, got all of this kind of mixed on my own, and then sent final mixes to Julian. We worked it all out, and then a really great guy, Justin Perkins, at mystery room mastering ended up mastering the record for me. So kind of had help from all realms of connections, but just from living around the country over the last few years and just meeting some great musicians, I was thankful to kind of have this network of people to call for this record.
Excellent. Well, do you plan on doing a tour to back this particular record up?
We've chosen some really great intimate spaces, kind of like the Bluebird Cafe here, some really intimate listening room experiences where it'll give us the chance to talk about our music. I can talk about the record and what's going on with the album and tell some stories, tell some jokes, but do it in a setting where people are willing to listen and are willing to lend their ears, which I know as musicians, it's hard to find the right audience. It's hard to find, a willing audience to really give you their attention too, especially with all the different bar scenes, the different venue scenes. We all would desire a crowd that's going to be attentive than just becoming background noise. So that's been something that I've been really intentional about here with this record. I want to put it in front of the right people. So going to be doing that to start out. And then I've got some great full band shows around Western North Carolina that will be kicking off some cool collaborative adventures, I should say, that we'll kind of get into this year.
Yeah, and we'll get you back to Tennessee as well.
Oh, yeah. I grew up here and have many ties here. My family's here in Nashville, too, and, always have a good time here at the Bluebird.
Yeah.